Hey guys, it's Tom. So one thing that I want to start doing on this channel is something that I'm going to call Sunday Night Talks, even if it may not be uploaded on Sunday night. This is something that I wanted to start for a while, and I'm finally going to start it. As you guys probably know, one of my New Year's resolutions is to gain more confidence, and I figure a good way to do that would be to do this kind of series. You know, maybe I start off a little awkward or, stumbling over my words, but the more I do it, I feel like the more confident I would get. And like every week I would talk about something that's on my mind. And I also have a bunch of topics that I'd love to cover. About a year ago I wanted to make a whole series of videos on YouTube, but I didn't have the time, so I figured this would be a good way to do it. And by the way, I apologize if there's like a humming sound. I'm doing a bit of laundry. And just so you know, there might be a little bit of editing along the way because these aren't going to be perfect, but I'll do the best that I can. So the first thing I want to talk about in this first episode is something that I want to do for a while, and that is the concept of best versus favorite. So let's get into it. I'm filming this on Saturday. Tomorrow, on Sunday, are the Oscars. I'm super excited for the Oscars. I love watching them, but I'll be busy that day, so I can't be able to record this that night. Plus, I'll be watching it. But that got me thinking about best versus favorite. And I'm going to talk about movies, but I'm going to try and branch it out into other stuff. And so one of the first things I thought of is Star Wars. This is the Star Wars original trilogy on Blu-ray. And, a lot of people consider Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, to be the best film. And you know what? That might be the case. But if I had to pick a favorite, I would probably go with Episode 4, A New Hope. I feel that it's the most satisfying in terms of the one drawback about Empire Strikes Back for me is when I watch it, I have to watch Episode 6, which is not a bad thing. Episode 6 is also a really good movie, but A New Hope, I can watch it from start to finish and just, breathe a sigh of relief that it's over. Empire Strikes Back is probably the better movie because it fleshes out the characters more. I feel like there is a little bit more conflict and just a little bit more well-rounded film. Plus, a lot of people, it's almost used as a cliche when people talk about, making a sequel to a movie, making it better. It's known as The Empire Strikes Back. And so, maybe The Empire Strikes is a better film, but I personally like A New Hope just a little bit better. Not to say I don't like Empire Strikes Back. And that's really what I wanted to get into in this episode, because really all film is subjective. You are allowed to like a movie. You are allowed to not like a movie. Simple as that. Now I'll bring up my second demonstration here, which is Jurassic Park. This is the trilogy, and then this is Jurassic World. I have this in a little tin case. I like the packaging of it. You know what? I can understand if you didn't really like Jurassic World. Does it have problems? Yeah, there are problems. Was it a summer blockbuster? Absolutely. I saw it twice in theaters, and the first time I saw it, I remember I really liked it, but there were parts about it that I was kind of like, I don't know how I feel about this. And the second time, I did what, people tell me to do. I turned off my brain, said it's a freaking dinosaur movie, and I had a lot more fun the second time. And I had a lot of fun with this Jurassic World. And so I consider that fun. Is it the best film in the franchise? No, that would probably be the first one. Because the thing is, a lot of people can look at Jurassic World and look at all the faults with it and say it's a failure, it's a bad movie. I can't do that. There is a lot of room for improvement, no doubt about that. But I can watch this movie and have fun. I can watch this movie and remember the good times that I had in summer 2015 going to see this movie. I remember seeing teenagers, because I think, was this movie rated PG-13? It was. I remember teenagers going to see this movie because it was a big, blockbuster. And, teens love blockbuster movies in the summer, so that was cool. Seeing these people bond over something that's, 20 years old? At least 20 years old at this point? So, Jurassic Park, the first one, is the best, no doubt about it. The Lost World and Jurassic Park 3, they're good sequels, and even Jurassic World, I think, is a good sequel. I don't consider any of these to be bad movies to me. Now, you may think they're bad, and that's fine. If you hate Jurassic World, you're allowed to hate it. But I had fun with it, and, I can't say that I love it for what's in it, because there are some things in the movie that needed improvement. But there are a lot of other things to enjoy. So I think I've made my point. Okay, I'm going to set those down. So that's really what I'm getting into, the whole concept of best versus favorite. It seems like at this point best is fact and favorite is opinion. Like, if you were to ask, like if you were to go on critics' websites, let's say, or WatchMojo.com, and you actually looked up the best movies of 2015, I'm putting that in air quotes because, you know, they factor in box office success, whether they like the movie, whether others like the movie, and they call it the best. And WatchMojo.com for last year, they put Mad Max Fury Road as the #1 best movie of 2015. Was it my favorite movie of 2015? No, it wasn't the top 10, but mine was Inside Out. You know, you're allowed to like what you like. You're the only one who really can make that decision. Well, I gotta take a drink here. That's delicious. I'll probably have drinks every time I do these so I can, you know, keep my mouth moving. So, best versus favorite. Like I said, best seems almost like it's fact at this point, and favorite seems to be opinion. Now, you're also allowed to think that Star Wars Episode 4, New Hope, is the best in the series. You know, you're also allowed to think that Empire Strikes Back is the best in the series. But it seems like a lot of people, you know, when you assign the term best, it means it's largely accepted. Like, you could say that Wizard of Oz is one of the best movies of all time. Okay, I don't think anyone really disagrees with that. It's, you know, people hail it. It's, you know, gotten tons of anniversary Blu-ray editions. It's, you know, there's so much lore around it that it seems, you know, crystallized in that best schlack over it. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. I need a drink. But does that mean you have to like it just because it's one of the best movies? Of course not. You can watch Wizard of Oz and go, wow, that's boring, or wow, I don't like that. And that's fine. You know, Wizard of Oz for me, you know, I like it. I don't own the DVD and Blu-ray of it. Truth be told, I've seen it a few too many times, so I kind of know the whole thing inside and out. But that doesn't stray away from me saying, you know, it's one of the best movies ever made. And you also don't have to say, oh, this movie's great just because a lot of other people say it's great. You know, you can form your own opinion. Perfect example, the late great Roger Ebert, one of the most famous film critics, if not the famous film critic of all time, he gave Die Hard 2 out of 4 stars. And, you know, a lot of people would disagree with that. So, you know, you're allowed to like or dislike a movie. But that term best versus favorite, sometimes the line is blurred and they become the same, and sometimes you're allowed to separate them. And here's my last example before I get off this topic, because I don't want to keep going because I feel like I've made some of my points already. Plus, I would like to keep these videos fairly short, you know, slightly under 10 minutes, because I want you guys to, you know, not feel like you have to, you know, hear me preach forever and ever. These are my 2 favorite movies of 2014. Birdman, or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance, and the Lego Movie. Now, for a long time, I had a hard time deciding which one I like more. Now, here's a fact. Here's a fact that I can prove. I saw the Lego Movie more times in theaters. I saw it 4 times. Birdman I saw only once in theaters. But I saw it enough times that I knew I wanted to own it. And I saw the Lego Movie enough times to know that I had to own it. So that is fact. I saw the Lego Movie more times. Does that mean that I like it more than Birdman? That's hard to say, really. I mean, Birdman is a phenomenal movie. It's the better drama of the 2. No doubt. I think it's the better drama. Does that make it the better movie? I'm not sure. Is Birdman for everyone? No, it's rated R. It's got language throughout and some sexual content and some brief violence. So you can't show everyone Birdman, but you can pretty much show everyone the Lego Movie. You know, this movie reaches a wider demographic, whereas Birdman does not. And both of these, you know, resonated with me when I saw them in theaters. Lego Movie resonated with me so much the first time, I saw it 3 more times. Birdman, to be honest, it was in select theaters, so I only got to see it the 1 time, and I went out of my way to see it the first time, and I didn't exactly want to go out of my way to see it more than 1 time because I knew that it stuck with me. So if I had to pick which one I like more, that's so hard to say because, like I said, I saw this one more times, so I'm more biased, but the more I think about Birdman and talk about Birdman, the more I love it. So as of right now, I can't come to that conclusion, you know, which one I like more, but I can easily say this one's the better drama and this one's the better movie for a wider demographic. You know, to me, that's probably never going to change. And that's another thing about best versus favorite. Bests don't seem to change. Favorites do. And so favorites can change, and it seems like bests do not. Whenever you see a list of, you know, the best movies of all time, You know, they always seem to have, you know, Citizen Kane, The Wizard of Oz, The Godfather, you know, movies that no one can argue about. And that's, and you know, and that's fine. You know, that doesn't piss me off. And I watched a few videos where people have listed their top 10 favorite movies of 2015. Now, they weren't saying these are the best because everyone else says so or I have to like them. You know, they were listing their own opinion. And sure, there were movies in there that it seems everyone agrees on. You know, the new Star Wars movie, Inside Out. And then there were other movies that people put on their list that maybe I heard of, maybe I saw a trailer for it, and then I thought nothing of it. And then to hear them talk about it, I'm kind of going, well, that's interesting. You know, what was it about this movie that made you like it so much? Perfect example. If you guys watch my top 10 favorite movies of 2015 list, which I did with my buddies Luke and Avery, excuse me, stupid drink. If you haven't, I'll put a link in the description below for that. But you guys would know that Black Mass was on my list. Now, I didn't see a lot of other lists that had Black Mass. Frankly, the only other person I know that probably has that in his list is my buddy Drew. And I took him to see it, and he's a big Johnny Depp fan. Now, yes, it was exciting to take him, a big Johnny Depp fan, to see Black Mass in a role that Johnny Depp was, you know, phenomenal in. But I tried to take a step back and said, you know, do I still like this movie despite how good his performance is? A lot of critics kind of bashed on it, and I watched it 2 times in theaters, and both times I said to myself, this is a great movie. I love this movie. This movie's great to me. I don't care what the other people say. I love this movie, and I think I'm going to go pick it up on Blu-ray and DVD. So that's a perfect example. You know, did a lot of people say it was the best movie of the year? No. No one really was saying that. Did I enjoy it? Absolutely. And did I put out my top 10? Yes, because it affected me. And that's the great thing about having favorites. It only applies to you. You don't have to pick a favorite just because you want to please someone else, or just because someone else says so, or Roger Ebert says so, or the New York Times, or, you know, whatever. All film is subjective, and you are allowed to like what you like. Okay, I'm gonna end it there. Ah, that's delicious.